There are your answers. You can go on Google. I'm seeing Shami Brown. Shami Brown, what are you saying?
Brown. Please talk.
I think it's how some place is organized.
Oh. Let me read for the charts. People with the same norms, yes. Places where cultural records are kept. A cultural institution, traditional institutions. It is a place where culture is taught, where we find detailed records of culture are found, places where people learn their culture. That is very good. Now, let me give you my definition. I want to give you the definition which I have. So I wrote that it is an institution with a mission as of society. And now you can read that chart. I've given the notes there. My work is there. What is a cultural institution? It is an institution with a mission to conserve and preserve cultural aspects of features of society. For example, Kingdom of Buganda, Kingdom of Bunyoro, or kingdoms. Or for example, Buganda is a cultural institution, Bunyoro is a cultural institution, and you can even lower zero it down to a clan. A clan, you can say, for example, that let me tell you, my clan, Kasimba clan, is a cultural institution. So it can be wherever you have a place where culture is preserved and conserved. That is a cultural institution. So in this case, we can look at Bunyoro, we can look at Toro, we can look at Busoga. All those are cultural institutions. And within the culture, within the kingdoms or ethnic groups, you have clans. Okay, so it is an institution with a mission to conserve and preserve cultural aspects or features of kingdom. Of a society. Here I gave you an example of kingdoms or ethnic groups. So the major features. What are the major features of a cultural institution? Features of culture. What is it that makes up a culture? To see that that is a culture. Can you give me the features that make up culture?
Food.
Food.
Taboos. Language.
Dressing.
Language.
Language.
Type of food. Local language.
Dressing.
Dressing.
Uh-huh. What else? Anisha?
Teacher, I wanted to ask, what is a constitution? Sorry, an institution.
It is a body, organized body, put in place to do some work.
Okay,
That is
thank
an
you.
institution that is serving culture. Behavior, that is attitude. What else? What else? Who is this? Can I, Nawal? 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 Nawal, I'm not hearing you. Peace. So you're forgetting. We have a craft, we have behavior, we have rituals.
Taboos.
Taboos. Rituals. Music and dance.
Custom. What of artifacts?
So here we have on your laptop, on your phone, you can see language, crafts, food, behavior, rituals, attitude, art, that is music and dance, leadership, religion, customs and beliefs, and so many others. You know that somebody is in Uganda, for example, you must tell by the Uganda language it is speaking. If he has not just learned it, crafts, each culture has got its own culture, crafts. But you find, for example, the type of baskets that are weaved in Uganda are not the same as those crafts, the baskets that are weaved in Europe. So they are different. Type of food, the dishes, the staple food.
Excuse me, teacher.
So we have food. You moved across different cultures. Different types of food. The Baganda have matoke. They call it. They can, for example, they eat in sanyuse. That is ground nut stew. You go to Bunyoro. They have their kalo and ankole. You go to, for example, to Gisu. They have their malewa with the matoke. So we have also behavior. There's certain behaviors. Some people greet while they're kneeling, others greet while standing. We have the rituals, things which they do. For example, baptism, initiation ceremonies, other types of rituals, which they are different. They are different. When people are wedding, for example, the Banyoro, the way they wed is different from the Yapadora. The Japs wed differently. The attitude toward certain things is also different. Those are the things which are making up what? Culture. Music, dance, and drama, for example, the Kadodi in Ukisu, the Ntogoro in Bunyoro, the music Basque Simba Nankasa Mogola in Uganda, and the others, the Lakalaka. Have you heard of Lakalaka?
No.
Dance? Lakalaka dance. Have you heard of it? That one is done, I think, naturally. So we have leadership. The way select their leaders. In Bunyoro they have Mukama. In Uganda they have Kabaka.
A lot of artifacts and norms.
Now, can you define the chart?
A lot of artifacts and norms.
That's good charts. Is a cultural leader. Who is a cultural leader? Somebody is singing. The person. Who is the cultural leader? Who is the cultural leader?
Vivian,
Yes, teacher.
Who is the cultural leader? Yes. Vivian, you are talking. Swabra.
Yes, teacher. Excuse me, teacher.
The cultural leader.
Dressing also among the excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Is dressing among the major components of culture.
Yes, please.
Dressing.
Yes. I gave it. Didn't you write it?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
I'm Regina.
Mm.
I was asking, how is religion a feature of culture? Religion.
Different cultures worship differently. Answered you?
No?
Different cultures
Like,
worship
yes.
their God differently.
Yeah, can you give an example? Because I'm confused.
You are confused.
The
The
way,
religions,
yeah.
the religions you see that you are in now, those are modern religions. But we have traditional religions. We have traditional religions which were found before Christianity came, before Islam came. Okay? So when you see the way the Banyankole worship their God is not the way the Baganda also worship their God. They have different
Okay,
attitudes.
thank you.
Yes?
Thank you.
Sorry. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. Religion is part of, we are talking about traditional religion.
Excuse me, teacher. Thank you.
Now we are going, who is a cultural leader? I want the definition.
Teacher, me, a cultural leader is a person who leads a cultural sector.
Somebody saying he is an individual selected by a cultural committee following traditional norms. Yes, you want to get it from Google. Actually, that's what I have.
Excuse me, teacher. Excuse me, teacher.
yes, please.
Want to get the definition and you write it? Let's go to the definition which I put. We have the cultural leader. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? This is an individual selected by cultural norms to head a cultural institution. When they are selecting a leader, they have to follow traditional norms. They should not violate any. I will play for you some videos later when they are coronating the Kabaka of Uganda. So they have to follow all those rituals so that they don't make mistakes. So different cultures select their leaders differently. So this is an individual who is selected by a cultural committee. There should be a group or a committee constituting the elders, maybe clan leaders and so on, to identify somebody who is accepted by traditions and he becomes a cultural leader. So all these cultural leaders we see in East Africa have been selected by certain committees, and they make sure they don't make any mistakes when they're selecting them. And his major role is to create and preserve norms and behaviors that are expected within that culture. That is the major role of that leader. Once somebody is appointed, or once he's coronated, or whatever the case, he makes sure the norms, he creates the norm. He can initiate a certain norm and he said, now from there onwards, this one is going to be accepted. Then to preserve those ones which were found before he became what? A leader. He conserves, he preserves. What the status quo must remain or must prevail. So major leaders, the major role is to create and preserve the norms and behaviors of that culture. Now let us move to the major. I want cultural leaders in Uganda and their ethnic. Examples of cultural leaders in Uganda and their cultural institutions. Who can get the title of the king of Uganda? Kabaka. Title of the cultural leader of
It's
Mukama.
Kabaka Ronald Mutebi.
I don't want the name, I want the title.
Mukama.
Mukama Toro.
Mukama.
Munyoro
Soga. Teso.
Emory Moore.
Then Bugisu. Are you seeing the chat now?
Excuse me, teacher.
Chabazinga.
Chabazinga. So, Omuku, that is for
Mukuka.
Excuse me, teacher.
Of Oranguru Kingdom.
Excuse me, teacher.
Rwenzururu Omumbere. Omusinga.
Excuse me, teacher, can you go back up?
Excuse me, teacher. Could you scroll a bit up?
Teacher,
To copy the
we have not yet completed. No.
Excuse me, teacher.
Teacher, can you get the
Could you
title?
scroll a bit up?
Title. Examples of
Yeah, thank you, teacher.
and their
Teacher,
cultural
rewind.
Yes.
Teacher, scroll a bit up again.
Teacher, can you go up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, teacher. Could you scroll a bit
Why
up
don't you take
again?
it?
Find yourself number.
Can you go up again?
I do what?
People listen.
Go up again.
As you recording, they can't record. Why don't you do what you call screenshot?
Yes.
That we can move.
Please first go back,
I
please.
disturb you guys.
Teacher, scroll a bit up.
You're
Now,
inconvenienced.
am I inconveniencing you?
No.
Senior one.
No, teacher.
Not
Teacher, we didn't get the definition of a cultural leader.
This work we are going to put it in
Those
Please go
who
back.
have-
We didn't get the no.
Teacher, please scroll a bit
Copy
up.
what is there.
we are going to, you please.
Now swatch out done.
Which culture
Teacher, meet us
said
and
it by
go
your
with the
teacher,
lesson.
we tried.
Teacher, we will not be able to control us.
Now, what we are going to do We are going to mute all of you. That's the problem. Did we mute all of you?
No, teacher.
No,
Institution is headed by Mumbe.
Yes,
Because I hadn't finished homework.
Now, role played by cultural leaders in the society. Role played by cultural leaders in society.
This work already, you check on your WhatsApp groups. I have sent the work there. The work is there. It has cultural institution. Those people on WhatsApp, you can check. But first understand, then you are going to copy later. You don't
Now,
know
what is it that a cultural leader do? What does he do? What is his work? What is her work? Okay, come on, it's okay. This one, Kenyange. Kenyange.
They help to preserve the culture.
Culture.
I have a question.
Another one. What else do they do? Favor. Favor, you are not there.
A culture leader chairs. I'm here, teacher. A culture leader chairs clan meetings.
Yeah, clan meetings.
It promotes good morals. Settles conflict.
The culture.
Culture records.
Yes, Kathy, go on.
What else? Two more.
Culture leader stores culture records.
Stores cultural records.
A culture leader settles disputes.
A culture leader implements laws. Teacher, he
A
creates
culture
norms.
leader.
Creates norms.
Yes, norms.
Teacher, he mobilizes people for development projects.
Yes. Development projects.
Teacher, he
Teacher,
creates
he
norms.
mobilizes people for development projects. Like farming.
Can you go to the work which the teacher prepared?
He creates norms.
We have number one. Number one, we said he provides leadership and direction to their people. In other words, he leads his people. He provides a sense of direction, tells them where to move, what to do, and what not. He mobilizes people for development projects like what? Like farming. So they organize their people into projects, different directions. He creates and preserves cultural norms as left by their what? Their ancestors. So all these leaders, where you come from, all of you are, I'm sure you are East Africans, and you belong to some kingdom.
You're Indian.
No.
I know this.
No.
We are not.
No, we are Indians. Yes, we are Indians.
We are correct.
We are Koreans.
Now we are saying cultural leaders, so they organize the camps.
When did you become an Indian?
Through birth.
You are all Waganda.
Talk for yourself.
I'm not a Muganda.
Me
Teacher,
too.
just mute. Mute us, teacher.
Teacher, mute.
You like being muted.
Nange, guys.
Teacher, mute.
Quiet. Mute yourself first. You don't
You want to
want.
mute yourself. Don't talk for others.
You just look at your computer. So scrolling upwards. So there. They organize camps for youth, for the youth, for grooming them into good citizens. Some of you have been to Kisakate. Haven't you been to Kisakate? And that's why you have good manners, except those who never learn. So they organize camps for the youth, to groom them for as good citizens. They organize medical camps like immunization. You've heard, for example, the Kingdom of Uganda has been organizing medical camps to immunize certain diseases like COVID-19, there's some like measles, and others, and sickle cells. So they have been organizing medical camps. They also encourage people to increase food production in order to eradicate, it should be to eradicate famine. That word is not to eradicate poverty. Encourage people to increase food production in order to eradicate famine. That where there is poverty, you will put there famine. They preserve morals to the society, especially among the youth, among the young and the youth. So some of these cultural leaders have got radios where they put up programs which are geared to making people feel that they are going to behave very well in society, because the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. So the work of the cultural leader at any level is to make sure that these people are brought up properly. They preside over ceremonies such as funerals, weddings, and institutions, other institutions. So the initiations, some of them, you have heard of the initiation ceremonies, where somebody is initiated into manhood, the baptism of children, culturally. So weddings and so on. These cultural leaders, you can find that the head of clan is invited as a guest of honor when somebody is going to be named. Burials, we have funerals. So they preserve certain rituals which are conducted on or at the burial ceremony. Now we go to influence of Western culture on African culture. Influence of Western culture on African culture. Here we have put Western religion has replaced African religion. That's why most of you here, you are carrying two names. One is traditional name, and another one is how do you call it? The first name or religious name. You are called Nakachwa Hadija. Nakachwa is your traditional name. And then you have Hadija is a religious word. So now the Western culture came and replaced most of the African religions. So all of us here have a certain religion which came from outside, either Islam or Christianity. And others double, they have both traditional and modern religion. So Western languages such as English, French have diluted indigenous languages. That's why right now we are speaking English. We would be speaking our indigenous languages, but now we are speaking English. So the traditional regions, so the traditional languages, some of them are almost dying out completely. Some of you cannot even speak your mother tongue properly. So then you have Western meals such as rice, wheat are becoming more popular than indigenous food such as matoke. In some of our homes, rice has become almost a staple food. Wheat has become almost a staple food. So when the Western food came, we are now undermining, we are underlooking our traditional food. And then foreign crops have replaced African what? African crops in some cases. Some of these crops are foreign. In fact, this one is almost similar to the previous point. Then Western drinks such as wines, beers are replacing the African drinks like ekwete and buakata. In the past, those used to be the buakata and the other tradition. You know where you come from. You have that local group. You have Mwengibigere, buakata and so many. But now, somebody who is drinking beer and wine is taken in high esteem. So the traditional drinks are almost dying out. We have traditional marriage is dying away in favor of Western marriage. If you attend some of these marriages, the weddings, you wonder whether you are in Africa or whether you're in Europe. What they are doing actually is what the Europeans do. So the way Africans marry has totally been replaced. It has reduced respect children used to give to parents. For example, some children call their parents by their names. Johnny, Karoli, they don't mind. During our time, you couldn't call your father by his name. Some of us grew up we even never knew the names of our mothers. We used to call just mom, that is enough. So these days, some children in Africa are calling their parents by their names. African crafts is dying away in favor of industrial products from the West. Okay. So African music and dance is underlooked in favor of Western music, dance, and drama. So when you look at those and the others, you are going to find out that Western culture has been a replacement to very many of our own things. Now, can you copy that exercise? Give 5 bad Western cultural aspects which should not be taken over by Africa, and outline 5 cultures practiced in East Africa that should be dropped. Then, after doing that, we are going to play some. We are going to play some videos. So we are going to have some videos which are depicting. So I start with this one. Now this one is Lakalaka music. chance. Now we go to call for Mr. Namuda so that he can. I'm not seeing the other videos.
Akabake.
That is the coronation of Kabaka. Kabaka of Uganda, 1993 at Nagarabi, where the Kabaka was coronated, was born. Kabaka was Mwenda Mutebi. That is Nagarabi.
The history of Buganda Kingdom cannot be complete without mentioning Budo Hill, located in the heart of Wakiso district. At the peak of this royal hill lies Nagalabi Coronation Grounds, one of the key significant cultural sites to the kingdom. It is where the chosen prince of Buganda is consecrated and crowned king after the death of his father. To better understand why this site is considered as a backbone of the kingdom, we met Prince John Baptist Serwanja and his young brother Prince Lawrence Chimbowa.
Those are the elders who are performing.
Prince Serwanja, also referred to by title as the Semanobe, was one of the cultural leaders who carried out ceremonies on the Kabaka Ronald Mwenda Mutebi during his coronation back in 1993. The two leaders tell us that the history of the site dates back to the early 14th century when Kabaka Chintu took over the throne after killing his predecessor Bemba Musota.
Kabaka Chintu ordered that no prince would be crowned king without going through the cultural norms and practices on this hill.
Since Chintu's reign, it became mandatory for every king to go through cultural rites at these grounds. History also has it that only two kings, Kalema and Chiwewa, defied these orders by fighting their way to the throne. One of the unique features that stands out at Nagalabi is the house Buganda, which was the home of Kabaka Bemba Musota. The house is estimated to be about 813 years. Elders here tell us that the prince to be crowned king is supposed to sleep in the house for at least 9 days.
During the
90s, the Kabaka makes a master plan on how to steer the kingdom.
He said we have rituals.
Another key house where the prince was consecrated is called Bwanika.
That is Bwanika.
Here, the prince was spiritually empowered with rituals by the Nalinya of Nagalabi.
When he comes in the house Bwanika, he is bathed by a princess and then ushered into the house where his father consecrated.
Langira bwava ku birumbi ajja butereevu wano mu nnyumba eyo n'atusangamu abambejja ababeeramu nange naalinnya kwambeera n'abambejja abalala ne tumwaniriza bulungi ne tumukolako emikolo.
However, tragedy befell the kingdom in August 2012 when the house was set ablaze.
Some people who don't like culture are the ones who destroy the sites.
Now they are trying to reconstruct that house.
Reconstruction of the house has since begun, but with modifications.
Yensonga lwaki twagadde okuteekako ku mulundi guno ekikomera ddala nga kijja kutwala emyaka mingi nnyo nga balongoosaako bulongoosa ennyumba neddawo n'etemagana.
The house we are constructing will have a fence, surveillance cameras, security detectors to ensure that it is not destroyed.
People who work communally, they are not forced.
Sobola okukiteekako kamera nga tulaba buli kintu kyonna omuntu atuuse ku kifo kino.
Once the prince concluded with the ceremonies in the two houses, he headed directly to the place where he's finally crowned king. This particular site is called the Palace of Nachibuka. At that particular anthill is where Ronald Muwenda Mutebi was crowned king of Buganda 20 years ago. It is one of the key features that stands out unique here on Nagalabi Hill, also forming one of Buganda's backbone.
When Mutebi sat on the anthill, it only rained where he was.
That's you have you heard that it rained only where he was.
As we continued with our tour around Nagalabi, we noticed a very large tree. We could not help but take a minute off to gaze in awe.
That place is not very far from yes.
Only to find out that this tree stands tall in the history of this hill. It is called Mboneredde, translated as I am sorry.
Whenever people made mistakes, they would come here to ask for forgiveness.
Another tree of great significance is Gunsinze, where Kabaka's subjects would apologize to the king for any wrongs.
Let us look at the burial ceremony. Among the Luo,
these cattle are not on their way to the market or to the grazing grounds. Either they are not heading to the shed or slaughterhouse. They are heading to a rather unusual place to receive the deceased. And this is where the action begins. The bulls jostle for space as they struggle to take the lead, as if they understand the tragedy that has befallen the bereaved family. The mourners pour out in style. It's a funeral procession of Mzee Martin Okite, a fallen elder in Ogenya village, Nyando district of Kisumu County. As per the Luo tradition, his body is being accorded a heroic welcome.
Sherehe hiyo ikiendelea na ng'ombe ni kama kubariki hiyo boma yake ili ng'ombe ishiishe kwa hiyo boma yake.
Both the old and young men plus women participate in this unique ritual.
Wakati huo adui ni kifo, na kifo hiyo ndio tunamenyana naye wakati wa kuteruburu.
The mourners chase after the animals around the deceased home in a ritual that lasts for over an hour. But it doesn't end there. The animals are forced inside the fallen man's house. As the mourners wail aloud. After a few moments, the animals are driven out of the house. The mourners carrying the coffin shoulder high and do several rounds around the homestead.
It's a culture that is most rampant in Luo Nyanza, and those who still practice this culture say it's a way of casting the bad omen.
Wakati huo ni kufukuza setani ambayo inalete kifo kwa boma. Wanatesa hiyo setani na sasa nakimbia, ni imaginary kufukuza. Sio wanaifukuza because hawaioni, lakini ni imaginary.
It's a colorful ceremony that causes excitement and baffles many in equal measure. Anyone witnessing this morning ritual for the first time will be left dumbfounded. But to the Luo community, Teroburu, as it is known, is their unique send-off befitting a departed elder in the community. After all the drama, the mourners sit patiently and wear different faces from what the chaotic scenes witnessed earlier during the morning rampage. Baraka Karama, K24, Kisumu County.
So what we have just seen is a burial ceremony in Ruo. That was in Kenya. Now this one is the Embalu. I'm going to show you the Embalu dance, Kadodi dance. The Kadodi dance, we're talking about the features of the Now, what I've been seeing were part of the rituals that are practiced by some cultures. As I told you, we have been studying about features of cultures. Some of them about languages, others about types of food eaten. Then others about what video. The one which came first. Now we've opened girls. What have you learned from those videos? I want the hand up. I'm selecting one person. If I don't call your name, don't talk. Melissa Kiwewa. Melissa Kiwewa. What have you? Melissa Kiwewa. Raihana Namugosa.
Different tribe.
Raihana Namugosa.
Yes.
Yes.
Me. Different tribes have different ways of burying.
Yes, but have you enjoyed the burial of the Luo?
Was weird.
No.
The animals.
When the elder dies at home, even his cows come. Even the cows come.
Was weird.
Yeah, boring.
Yes, it was boring.
To be dumb.
Boring.
Kids have a sad life.
We shall play that one tomorrow.
Enjoy Barbie. How can you enjoy Barbie?
The movie that you watch.
You mute yourselves.
How can you enjoy Barbie? Like, how?
That goes.
How can you enjoy Barbie?
Okay, let one person talk. Have work. Especially those senior ones.
Now I've muted all of you. I wanted to say that these videos are played not to make you amuse so much. We want you to learn something from them. That each culture has its own way. Someone has just told me here that even the Japs also circumcise. So they also circumcise, and when they are going to circumcise, always move around the village and they dance off, and then the crowd it on. And the other video which you saw about burial, the Luo, that's how the
But teacher, you asked whether we enjoyed this. But how can you enjoy burial?
No, Somebody is going to
It's their culture.
How can you just say cow? You're going
I didn't finish the exercise.
Now, what is
Their culture.
Can you now keep quiet? Now,
Keep quiet. Keep quiet.
Shut up.
Keep
we are ending
quiet.
our lesson here. Please behave. I'm saying we are ending our lesson here. We have left the exercise there. Take it and do it. When you come back, you must have researched and everything. At school, all the exercise that we give you are
How
do we join the Google Classroom thing?
Teacher, what is the work? Can't you send the work? Can you send the work on that? Where is the work?
Teacher, bye. Thank you for teaching.
Guys, keep quiet.
How do we join the WhatsApp group?
exercise.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have the exercise. Some of us are not. How can we join the WhatsApp group?
Understood.
Yes, teacher.
Adikini.
The work.
Adikini banage.
Adikini, why are you there? Yeah? Adikini,
Adikini looks nice.
It's a milk.
Excuse me, teacher.
Where is the
Jose Grosso.
Fried chicken, guys.
I'm not saying that's Oh my God.
Bye now, Samba.
Fuck you. I hate your friends and they hate me.
Who's that?
Hey.
Me.
That's
It's
a
me.
good boy. Yes, Elisha. Yes, that's Elisha.
Gab, it's me, Aisha.
Hi, Franklin.
Yes.
Yes?
Inboxed you. Did you see?
How are you?
I'll put on the chat.
What are you doing?
Happy senior one center, please.
Yes. What are you doing?
I'm just looking for your video where you guys are.
I don't put.
What's right that Indian? Sometimes you put like some skills when you're there. But if I just been just a feeling. No, I think our lesson has ended, right? Hello.
And you.
Franklin, write a chat.
You motherfucker. Don't even give me money back.
Bye.
You motherfucker code go. Motherfucker code go.
To you.
Where is Goku?
You're welcome. Have you done all the work? The holiday work? For mine started little, but I stopped.
At least that's Louis probably have a new song.
Mom just started.
Oh, do we see who? Act like an. Do we see who? Act like an.
Franklin.
Amira.
Franklin.
Louis see who?
Apolly.
I knew your names. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you.
Anissa.
And you.
Yes.
Give me sing for me. Love the eyes.
Oh, okay, I'm going to put What are you doing? What are you doing?
I want to first write the work for teacher.
I'm gonna
Anissa.
Yes.
Goku.
Goku
Black.
Goku, is it you, Hadija?
Yeah, why not?
Goku
Oh my
Black.
God, I had forgotten.
Which Hadija? Yeah.
Hadija, I know.
Hadija.
Hadija, what are you doing?
I'm planning to do.
Have you watched the Dragon Ball of Uganda?
Megan.
Yes, Franklin.
Hi.
Bye.
Who's talking?
Bye.
Bye, Franklin.
Who's this?
Goku.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
By the way, which messages were you talking about?
Me.
No, I'm scared.
You said
send it on the private whatever chat. I answered, but you didn't respond.
Mochiga.
Yes?
Hi.
Waku. You didn't respond on the private chat.
I'll respond.
Okay. Bye. Francis, bye. Why is mom ending? I'm ending.
Who is Gulam?